Have you ever felt it? That quiet stirring deep within your heart. A sense that something greater is calling you. It is as though the very ground beneath your feet is shifting, preparing you for something beyond your imagination. It's not the restlessness of a soul caught in the mundane, but the unmistakable whisper of God urging you forward, calling you higher. If you've sensed this stirring, know this: God is about to elevate you, but not without first preparing you for the responsibility that comes with such elevation. Welcome to C.S. Lewis. Here, you'll discover your pathway to a deeper and more meaningful connection with God. It is a curious thing, this divine elevation. So often we imagine that when God lifts us to new heights, it is simply for our benefit, to reward us, to bless us, to raise our status in the eyes of others. But God's ways are far beyond such fleeting desires. His elevation is not about comfort or ease. It is about purpose. You see, God's plan for your life is far grander than mere promotion. It is about positioning you to fulfill a greater calling. When God begins to stir the waters of your life, it is not a random occurrence. No, God is intentional. His hand moves deliberately and precisely. And before he ever elevates you, he takes the time to prepare you. It is a slow process, often unseen, but essential. For God knows that elevation without preparation is like a house built upon sand, fragile, fleeting, and destined to crumble. And so, he begins a work in you that will, in time, make you ready. It often begins with a question, an uncomfortable question that rises in your spirit. Why am I here? What am I meant to do? These are not idle musings or fleeting thoughts. They are the very breath of the divine calling you to something higher, something more purposeful. It is God himself aligning your heart with his plans, opening your eyes to the greater purpose he has designed for you. The questions that seem to echo within you are not accidents. They are signs that he is at work. Yet in the midst of this stirring, you may find yourself feeling disoriented, even frustrated. The journey seems slow, the waiting interminable. But take heart, for God is not in a rush. His timing is perfect, and his purpose is far more important than your immediate desires. God is refining you, shaping your character, and molding you into someone who can bear the weight of the calling he is preparing for you. It is a process of purification, of patience, wisdom, humility, and vision. These qualities, though they may seem slow to cultivate, are the very things you will need to carry the responsibility of what God is about to release into your life. Take David, for example. When he was anointed king, he did not immediately ascend to the throne. No, he spent years tending sheep, learning how to lead in obscurity. He was in a season of preparation, one that many would have dismissed as insignificant. But in the quiet fields, away from the eyes of men, God was teaching David how to lead a nation by first teaching him how to shepherd flocks. If you find yourself in a season of waiting, do not despise it. Waiting is never wasted time in God's economy. It is preparation time. God uses this time to refine you, to cultivate the fruits of the Spirit: patience, kindness, faithfulness, and self-control. These are the very qualities that will sustain you in the season ahead. Elevation, after all, is not about a new status or title. It is about a new responsibility. And before you can step into that new season, God must ensure that your character is able to bear the weight of what is to come. Elevation is not a reward for good behavior. It is the stepping into a higher purpose, a purpose that will often require sacrifice, perseverance, and a deep reliance on God. God's preparation often involves what we call pruning. Just as a gardener prunes a vine to ensure its health and productivity, God will prune away what is hindering your growth. This pruning process can be painful. Relationships, opportunities, habits, even comforts may fall away. But this is not punishment. It is God's way of making room for something better. When God removes something from your life, trust that it is for your good. He is clearing the path for what is ahead. And so, you may find yourself in a season where things feel unsettled. People, places, and situations you once relied on may no longer seem to fit. This is the divine stirring, the holy discomfort that signals change is coming. It is a sign that God is enlarging your vision and calling you to something greater. The old has passed away, and a new season is on the horizon. Yet even in the discomfort, even in the uncertainty, remember this: God is at work. He is preparing you for the next level, and though the road may feel long, His hand is upon you. Trust the process. Embrace the preparation. And know that, in the fullness of time, when God elevates you, it will be for His glory and your good. Have you ever wondered why things sometimes feel like they are falling apart, when, in reality, God is working behind the scenes to set things right? The process of pruning is often misunderstood as punishment, when in fact it is a divine strategy. A strategy that positions us for greater growth, for a harvest of abundant fruit. God's pruning does not come from a place of anger or disappointment. It comes from His deep love for us and His desire to see us flourish in the purpose He has prepared for us. It is a process of removal, but also of renewal. When God begins to elevate you, one of the first things He does is begin to prune the areas of your life that are no longer bearing fruit. Just as a gardener trims away dead branches to make room for new growth, so too does God remove things from our lives that hinder our spiritual progress. These may be relationships, habits, mindsets, or even opportunities that once seemed essential to our journey. But as we grow in our relationship with God, He calls us to let go of the things that no longer align with His purposes. This pruning is often painful. We look around and see things slipping away. Perhaps a friendship, a job, or a familiar comfort. And we feel a sense of loss. But we must understand that this loss is not the end. It is the beginning of something greater. God is clearing the way for new growth, preparing us to bear fruit that will last, fruit that will bring glory to His name. When a tree is pruned, it doesn't grow in a straight line. The branches may seem bare for a time, stripped of the things that once made it feel full. But in time, new shoots begin to appear. The tree, though it looked empty, was actually being prepared to carry more fruit. And so it is with us. We may feel bare, stripped of things we thought we needed, but God is preparing us to carry something more substantial, something that will truly fulfill His purpose for our lives. Take a moment and reflect. What might God be pruning in your life right now? What are the things that you have held on to tightly, perhaps out of fear, comfort, or familiarity, that He is calling you to release? Trust that in His wisdom, God knows what needs to be removed in order to make room for what is to come. It might be painful, but the fruit that will come from this pruning will be worth the wait. God is never in a hurry, but He is always working. Another key aspect of this divine preparation is the development of vision. Before God elevates you, He gives you a glimpse of where He is taking you. This vision is not something you can conjure up on your own. It is birthed from the heart of God, and it is meant to stretch your faith. Often, the vision he gives you will seem impossibly large compared to your current circumstances. It will feel beyond your reach, beyond your capabilities. And that is exactly how it should be. For when God calls you to something, he never calls you to do it alone. He calls you to trust in his power, not your own. This vision may not come all at once. It may unfold in pieces, like a puzzle that slowly reveals its full picture. But even in its partial form, it will ignite a sense of purpose within you. You will feel compelled to move forward, to take steps in faith, even when the path ahead is unclear. And yet, this vision will often contradict your current reality. Your circumstances may seem too small, too limited, to carry the weight of the vision God has given you. You may look at your resources, your skills, your connections, and feel unqualified. But take courage. God does not call the equipped, he equips the called. If you are feeling overwhelmed by the enormity of the vision, know that you are not meant to accomplish it in your own strength. You are being called to rely on God's power, wisdom, and provision. This vision is not about what you can do. It is about what God can do through you. And as you step into that vision, you will begin to see your circumstances change. You will begin to see doors open that you never thought possible. People will enter your life at just the right time, and opportunities will arise when you least expect them. But none of this would have happened if you hadn't first embraced the vision and trusted God to bring it to fruition. Pruning and vision are intertwined in God's plan for your life. The pruning clears the way for the vision. The vision stretches your faith, preparing you to handle the weight of what God is about to release into your life. These processes are not separate. They work together, refining you, strengthening you, and preparing you for the next level. As you wait for the fullness of the vision to unfold, don't become impatient or discouraged. The waiting is part of the preparation. God is using this time to refine your character, to develop your skills, and to deepen your trust in him. Even when it seems like nothing is happening, God is at work. He is pruning, he is preparing, and he is aligning your heart with his purposes. Trust the process, and know that in his perfect timing, God will elevate you to the next level. The vision he has placed within you will not remain a distant dream. It will become a reality. But in the meantime, trust in his work, lean into his presence, and embrace the preparation. As you walk through the divine process of elevation, there will come a time when you notice something significant beginning to take shape in your life. You may feel a shift, a sense that the people around you are no longer just coincidental, but divinely orchestrated. These relationships, these connections, are not by chance. They are part of God's grand design, strategically placed in your life to prepare you for what is to come. God never calls us to rise alone. Elevation is never a solitary journey. It is a journey that requires others to walk alongside you, to support, challenge, and encourage you. These divine connections will come in many forms: mentors, supporters, and even challengers. And each one plays a crucial role in your growth and development. The first kind of divine connection is the mentor. A mentor is someone who has walked the path ahead of you, someone with wisdom and insight to offer. They are the ones who have faced the trials, overcome the obstacles, and come out on the other side with a wealth of knowledge that they are willing to share. God sends these mentors into your life at just the right time to provide guidance and counsel. They will help you avoid pitfalls, steer you away from distractions, and keep you grounded in your purpose. But don't be fooled. Mentors are not always easy to deal with. They may challenge you, confront you, and even make you uncomfortable. They push you to become more than you are, to think differently, to grow in ways that you may not have chosen for yourself. But this is part of God's plan. These mentors are sent to sharpen you, much like iron sharpens iron. Instead of resisting their correction, embrace it. Trust that they are part of the process, part of your divine preparation. Alongside mentors, God will also send supporters, people who believe in you, even when you struggle to believe in yourself. These supporters may not have all the answers, but they have faith. They stand by your side, cheering you on when the road gets tough, praying for you when the journey feels impossible, and reminding you of the promises God has made to you. These people are a reminder that you are never alone. Even in moments when you feel isolated or discouraged, these supporters will be there to lift you up and help you stay focused on the vision ahead. But not all divine connections come as comforters or cheerleaders. Some will come as challengers. These individuals may not always be easy to deal with. They may push you out of your comfort zone, question your assumptions, or even provoke you. But these relationships are just as necessary as the mentors and supporters. They are the ones who stretch your thinking, challenge your perspective, and refine your character. Just as God prunes you for growth, He also sends people who will refine your spirit and your understanding. Do not shy away from these relationships, for they are as much a part of God's divine strategy as the others. These divine connections, no matter their form, will always have a sense of purpose. You will notice that when the right people enter your life, things begin to align. Conversations feel meaningful, and collaborations seem effortless. Timing becomes impeccable, and doors begin to open that you couldn't have opened on your own. You will recognize that God is working behind the scenes, bringing the right people at just the right time to help you move forward. But as God aligns you with the right people, He may also lead you to release others. Not everyone who has been part of your journey thus far will continue with you into the next season. Some relationships have served their purpose, and it may be time to let go. This can be one of the most painful aspects of elevation. You may have to say goodbye to people you've known for years, people you've leaned on in the past. But remember, this is not a rejection. It is a realignment. God is positioning you for what is ahead. And some people, though good, are simply not meant to walk with you into the next phase of your journey. This process of realigning relationships can be difficult, but it is also necessary. There is no room for stagnation in God's kingdom. As you elevate, you must surround yourself with those who are aligned with the vision God has given you, those who will support, challenge, and walk with you in purpose. As you release relationships that no longer serve His purpose for your life, trust that God will bring new people who are meant to walk with you to the next level. He is always faithful to provide the right connections at the right time. And remember, these connections are not just for your benefit. Elevation is not only about you, it is about God's greater kingdom purpose. As God elevates you, He will position you to bless others. The relationships He brings into your life will not only help you fulfill your calling, but they will also allow you to pour into the lives of others. This divine exchange is part of His plan to advance His kingdom on earth. There is no such thing as a lone wolf in God's kingdom. We are called to be part of a body, each member functioning together to fulfill God's will. Your elevation is not just about you climbing higher. It's about you lifting others as you go. As you are elevated, remember, that God is calling you to be a blessing to those around you. Be intentional in these relationships. Pour into others as you have been poured into. Encourage them as you have been encouraged, and challenge them as you have been challenged. As you navigate the process of divine connection, lean into God's guidance. Trust that He knows exactly who you need to meet, who you need to walk with, and who you need to release. He will align your path with the people who will help you fulfill the purpose He has set before you. And know this: God's hand is upon you in this season of connection. He is orchestrating every relationship, every conversation, and every step. Stay faithful, stay obedient, and stay open to the divine connections He is bringing into your life. The people He sends are not accidental. They are part of His perfect plan for your elevation. Have you ever felt that subtle but unmistakable stirring deep within your soul, an unrest that seems to grow stronger with each passing day? It is not a mere discomfort born of dissatisfaction, but a divine restlessness, a holy agitation within you that signals something greater is on the horizon. When God begins to elevate you, He often places a sense of restlessness in your spirit, a feeling that where you are is no longer enough. You begin to sense that God is calling you to something more, something beyond the familiar. This divine restlessness is a sign that God is preparing you for a new season. You may look around and feel that the things that once satisfied you, your job, your relationships, your routines, no longer hold the same fulfillment. They may feel stale, worn, or out of sync with the vision God is placing in your heart. This restlessness is not a sign of discontent. Rather, it is a signal that God is stretching your capacity, expanding your heart, and preparing you to step into the next level of your purpose. As human beings, we tend to hold on to what is familiar, even when it no longer serves us. It's easy to get comfortable in our routines, even when those routines no longer bring us life. But when God is preparing to elevate you, He disrupts that comfort zone. He stirs your spirit to create a hunger for something greater, something beyond what you've experienced before. This hunger is not a longing for material things, but a yearning for a deeper intimacy with God, for a greater alignment with His purpose. When this restlessness begins to rise within you, it can be confusing. You might question yourself, wondering if you are being ungrateful for the blessings you currently have. Why can't I be content with what I have? You may ask. But this discomfort is not a sign of dissatisfaction. It is a sign of divine movement. God is stirring your heart because He knows that you were created for more. This holy unrest is a signal that God is about to lead you into a new season, a new opportunity, and a new purpose that will stretch you, refine you, and ultimately transform you. One of the first signs of this divine restlessness is a shift in perspective. What once seemed acceptable or good enough no longer aligns with the vision God has placed within you. You begin to dream bigger. You see possibilities that you never considered before. What once felt secure now feels too small, too limited to contain the vision God is revealing to you. This change in perspective is not a coincidence. It is a divine invitation to grow, to stretch, and to trust God for more. When God begins to stir your heart, He will often lead you to a place of hunger, a spiritual hunger that drives you to seek Him more passionately. You may find yourself yearning for a deeper understanding of His Word, a clearer revelation of His will, and a greater alignment with His heart. This hunger is a sign that God is drawing you closer, preparing you to step into the fullness of His purpose for your life. Embrace this hunger. It is a gift from God that will propel you into the next season of your spiritual journey. Yet, as with any season of growth, this restlessness can also bring with it a sense of discomfort. You may begin to feel disconnected from the people, places, and activities that once brought you joy. Your old routines may feel inadequate. Your relationships may seem out of sync with your spirit. This discomfort is part of the stretching process. God is removing the old to make room for the new. He is enlarging your capacity to hold the vision He is placing before you. It is important to understand that this divine restlessness is not a call to action. Not yet, at least. It is a call to preparation. God is preparing your heart, your mind, and your spirit for what is to come. He is calling you to seek His guidance, to pray, and to fast, to listen closely for His voice. This restlessness is not about rushing ahead into the unknown. It is about being still enough to hear His direction. It is a season of waiting, a season of trusting that God will lead you in His perfect timing. In the midst of this restlessness, you may also feel the need to let go of certain relationships, places, or environments. Some connections may no longer align with the new season God is preparing you for. This is not a rejection of those who have been a part of your journey thus far. It is simply a recognition that the season has changed, and God is calling you to move forward. Trust Him in this process. As you release the old, He will bring the new, people, places, and opportunities that will align with His purpose for your life. There is a beauty in this holy discomfort because it signals that God is actively at work in your life. The restlessness you feel is a sign that He has not forgotten you, that He is not done with you yet. He is preparing you for something greater, something that will require your full trust and dependence on Him. The discomfort you experience is not a negative thing. It is a divine invitation to step into the fullness of your calling. As you embrace this restlessness, remember that it is a catalyst for growth. God is enlarging your vision, expanding your heart, and preparing you to walk in the fullness of His purpose. Trust the process. Trust that the discomfort will lead to breakthrough, that the hunger will lead to deeper intimacy with God, and that the restlessness will lead to a greater alignment with His will. God is calling you higher, and this holy discomfort is a sign that you are on the brink of something extraordinary. Embrace it with faith. Lean into His presence and prepare your heart for the next level of your journey. The restlessness is not the end of something. It is the beginning of something greater. In life, the journey of elevation is never without its challenges. As God prepares you to step into the next level of your purpose, He will often lead you through a season of battles that may not be visible to the naked eye, but are deeply spiritual in nature. These battles are not signs that you are on the wrong path, but rather evidence that you are moving in the right direction. When God elevates you, opposition is inevitable. The enemy will not sit idly by and watch you walk into your divine destiny without attempting to hinder your progress. But take heart. These challenges are not there to defeat you. They are part of God's divine plan to strengthen your resolve, deepen your faith, and sharpen your focus. In every battle, God is working to refine you, to make you more dependent on His strength, and to prepare you for the responsibilities that will come with your elevation. The new opportunities that arise during this season are often disguised as problems. What appears to be a setback or a challenge is in fact an opportunity for growth, an invitation to step out of your comfort zone, and a chance to rely more fully on God. It is in these moments that your faith is refined, your dependence on God deepens, and your trust in His provision and wisdom is tested. These challenges are not meant to destroy you. They are designed to build you up. Consider the story of Joseph. When God elevated him to a position of great influence in Egypt, he didn't just walk into a life of ease and luxury. No, his journey was filled with betrayal, false accusations, and imprisonment. Joseph could have seen these trials as obstacles, as signs that he was not meant for greatness. But in God's eyes, they were stepping stones. Each hardship, each trial, was a necessary part of his preparation for the greatness God had ordained for him. As you encounter new opportunities in your own life, you may find yourself feeling unqualified, overwhelmed, or uncertain. The opportunities that God places before you often seem too big, too beyond your current capacity to handle. But this is exactly how God works. He will never call you to something that you can accomplish in your own strength. If the opportunity feels too big for you, it is perfectly sized for Him. He wants you to rely on His power, wisdom, and provision, not on your own abilities. These new opportunities, though exciting, will often bring with them significant challenges. You may feel like you're standing on the edge of something new, and the fear of failure or uncertainty may try to hold you back. But remember this: God does not open doors that He has not already equipped you to walk through. The challenges you face along the way are not signs of failure. They are signs of divine confirmation. God has called you to this moment, and He has already given you everything you need to succeed. In this season, wisdom is essential. Not every door that opens is meant to be walked through, and not every challenge is meant to be faced head-on. It is crucial to seek God's guidance in every decision, to ask for His wisdom and discernment as you navigate the new opportunities He is placing before you. Take time to pray, to study His Word, and to seek counsel from wise and trusted mentors. God will provide the direction you need, but you must be attentive to His leading. One of the most important aspects of navigating new opportunities is learning to see the challenges as opportunities for growth. The opposition you face is not an indication that you are on the wrong path. It is often a sign that you are moving in the right direction. The enemy does not attack those who are standing still. He attacks those who are advancing, those who are taking ground for the kingdom of God. Every trial you face is an opportunity to deepen your trust in God, to strengthen your faith, and to refine your character. In the midst of these challenges, it is essential to maintain a perspective of faith. When you encounter opposition, do not shrink back. Do not allow fear or doubt to paralyze you. Instead, rise up with the confidence that God is with you. He will fight for you. He will provide the strength you need to overcome every obstacle that stands in your way. And as you face these challenges, remember to celebrate the small victories along the way. Every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Every victory, no matter how seemingly insignificant, is evidence of God's faithfulness. Celebrate His provision, celebrate His guidance, and celebrate the progress you are making on your journey toward elevation. New opportunities are not just about personal success. They are about advancing God's kingdom. When God elevates you, it is never for your glory alone. It is for His glory and for the benefit of those around you. The opportunities He places before you are not just for your personal gain. They are designed to position you to impact others, to be a blessing, and to glorify God through your action. As you step into these new opportunities, keep your focus on God's kingdom purpose. Understand that every open door, every challenge, and every victory is an opportunity to advance His work in the world. The new season of elevation that God is calling you into is not just for you. It is for the people whose lives will be touched by your obedience, your faith, and your willingness to walk through the doors He has opened. As you embrace these opportunities, Remember to rely on God's wisdom, lean into His strength, and trust His timing. The challenges you face will not defeat you. They will refine you, strengthen you, and prepare you for the great things that are ahead. God is not calling you to easy things. He is calling you to great things. Trust Him in the process, lean into His presence, and step forward with faith. It's easy to become fixated on the big dreams, the grand visions, and the exciting opportunities that lie ahead. We often find ourselves yearning for the moment when we will step into our calling, when we will see the fruits of our labor, and when the doors of elevation swing wide open before us. But here's a truth that is often overlooked. Before we can be trusted with the grand, we must first be faithful in the small. Faithfulness in the small things is not glamorous. It doesn't come with applause or recognition. It is the quiet, unseen obedience to God's will, even in the moments that seem insignificant. And yet, it is in these small, everyday acts of faithfulness that God shapes our character and prepares us for the bigger things He has in store. God does not overlook the small things. In fact, He uses them as the foundation for our growth and elevation. How we handle the small responsibilities, those tasks that seem menial or insignificant, reveals our true character. Are we diligent when no one is watching? Do we honor God in the little things, or do we wait for the big moments to demonstrate our faith? The way we steward what is small is a direct reflection of how we will handle what is large. Jesus Himself spoke of this in the parable of the talents. He told the story of a master who entrusted his servants with different amounts of wealth. To the one who proved faithful with a small amount, the master entrusted more. "Well done, good and faithful servant," the master said. "You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much." Matthew 25:21. This is the heart of God's kingdom. He does not promote based on potential alone, but on faithfulness. He watches how we handle the responsibilities He gives us now, even when they seem small, because He knows that true elevation comes when we have proven ourselves faithful, not just capable. This principle applies not only to our work or our calling, but also to our relationships, our resources, and even our time. How do we handle the relationships God has placed in our lives? Do we honor others, serve them, and love them with the same faithfulness we hope to receive in return? How do we use the resources God has entrusted to us? Are we generous, wise, and responsible with what we have, even when it seems like there is not enough to go around? In the same way, how do we spend our time? Are we faithful with the moments we have each day, stewarding them with purpose and intentionality? Time, once lost, can never be regained. God has given us each day as a precious gift, and how we use it reflects our commitment to His plans for our lives. When God is preparing us for elevation, He will often lead us through seasons of small tasks, mundane, everyday responsibilities that seem unimportant in the grand scheme of things. But these seasons are not wasted time. They are preparation time. God is developing in us the discipline, patience, and humility necessary to handle the weight of what is to come. If you are in a season where the tasks before you seem small or insignificant, do not grow discouraged. God is at work in the quiet moments. He is shaping your character, refining your motives, and preparing you for the greater responsibilities that lie ahead. Trust that He sees every act of faithfulness, no matter how small, and that He is preparing you for the elevation that will come in His perfect timing. The road to elevation is not always quick. It is often long and filled with waiting. But during this waiting period, God is at work, refining you in ways you cannot see. He is developing your character, aligning your heart with His purposes, and teaching you the value of faithfulness. The small tasks you perform today are building blocks for the destiny God has for you tomorrow. Consider the life of Joseph again. Before he was elevated to a position of power in Egypt, he was entrusted with small responsibilities. First, he worked for his father, tending to his brothers and managing the family's affairs. Then, in Potiphar's house, he was trusted with the management of all that his master had. Even in prison, Joseph demonstrated faithfulness by taking responsibility for the prisoners' affairs. He was faithful in the small things, even when he was overlooked and imprisoned for doing what was right. And in the fullness of time, God elevated him to a position of great authority. Joseph's journey teaches us a powerful lesson. The way to the palace is through the pit. The road to greatness is often paved with small, seemingly insignificant tasks that require patience, diligence, and faithfulness. God uses these tasks to refine us, to teach us to trust Him in the waiting, and to prepare us for the responsibilities of the future. As you navigate the season you are in, remember this: God is not overlooking your faithfulness. He sees every small act of obedience, every moment of service, every quiet sacrifice you make in His name. These are the building blocks of elevation. If you are faithful with the little things, He will entrust you with much. God's elevation is not always about a sudden rise to fame or recognition. It is about stepping into a higher calling, a greater responsibility, and a deeper relationship with Him. And this journey of elevation begins in the small things, the everyday moments when we choose to be faithful, even when no one is watching. As you wait for God to elevate you, focus on being faithful in the small things. Steward your time, your relationships, and your resources with purpose and diligence. Trust that in His perfect timing, God will promote you to the next level. And when that time comes, you will find that you are not only ready for the greater responsibility, but also equipped with the character and wisdom necessary to fulfill it. As you reach the final chapter of this journey, you may find yourself standing at the threshold of something new, something greater. After seasons of waiting, pruning, and refining, you are now prepared to step into the fullness of God's elevation for your life. But as you stand at this threshold, you may feel a mix of emotions: excitement, fear, anticipation, and perhaps even a bit of disbelief. The road has been long, but in the distance you can see the reward of faithfulness and trust in God's perfect timing. It is important to understand that elevation is not a singular event. It is a process, a culmination of all the preparation, all the divine connections, all the tests of faith, and all the moments of quiet obedience that have brought you to this point. Elevation is not simply about reaching a new status or achieving a personal goal. It is about stepping into a new realm of purpose and responsibility that aligns with God's greater kingdom agenda. You may have imagined that once you reach this new level, everything would be smooth sailing, that life would be easier, or that you would be free from the challenges that have shaped your journey. But here's the truth: with elevation comes greater responsibility. God does not elevate you simply for personal gain or comfort. He elevates you to be a vessel for His glory, to carry His message to a hurting world, and to be an instrument of His will on earth. The new opportunities that lie before you will bring with them new challenges. The greater the calling, the greater the opposition. But take heart, for the God who has brought you this far is the same God who will equip you for the task ahead. As you step into this new season, trust that God will continue to guide you, strengthen you, and empower you to fulfill His purpose for your life. Remember the story of the Israelites. as they stepped into the promised land. For years they wandered in the wilderness, enduring hardship and trial. But when the time was right, God brought them to the edge of the land he had promised them. It was a land of abundance, a land flowing with milk and honey, but it was also a land filled with giants, opposition that would require faith, courage, and wisdom to overcome. God did not promise them an easy journey, but he did promise his presence, his provision, and his victory. As you enter into this season of elevation, you too will face giants. There will be obstacles and challenges that seem insurmountable. But just as God was faithful to the Israelites, he will be faithful to you. He will not leave you or forsake you. He will be with you every step of the way, and the giants that stand before you will fall in his perfect timing. The fullness of elevation also involves a deeper intimacy with God. As he elevates you, he is drawing you closer to himself. The challenges you face, the responsibilities you carry, and the victories you achieve will all be opportunities to depend more fully on his strength and wisdom. Your relationship with him will deepen as you lean into his presence, trust in his provision, and rely on his guidance. The more you walk in alignment with his will, the more you will experience his peace, his joy, and his fulfillment. This journey of elevation is not just about where you're going. It is about who you are becoming. God's purpose for your life is not simply to elevate your status. It is to elevate your soul, to refine your character, and to mold you into the person he has called you to be. The higher God takes you, the more he will shape you into his image. As you walk in his purpose, you will become a reflection of his glory to the world around you. Now, as you step into this new season, let your heart be filled with gratitude. Remember that every step of the journey, the waiting, the trials, the pruning, and the testing, has brought you to this moment. Trust that God's hand has been upon you every step of the way, guiding you, refining you, and preparing you for the purpose he has set before you. This is the moment you've been waiting for. But it is not the end. It is only the beginning. The elevation God has brought you to is just the first step in the greater calling he has for your life. There will be more seasons of growth, more opportunities to step out in faith, and more challenges to face. But through it all, know this: you are not alone. God is with you, he is for you, and he will never leave you. As you embrace the fullness of your elevation, continue to trust in God's perfect timing. He has brought you this far, and he will bring you through every challenge, every victory, and every step ahead. Walk in confidence, knowing that the best is yet to come. As you reflect on your own journey of elevation, remember that each phase of preparation, from pruning to restlessness, is God's divine strategy to prepare you for something greater. Trust that the challenges and delays are not wasted time. They are shaping your character, refining your vision, and equipping you for the responsibilities ahead. Elevation is not just about a destination. It is about the person you are becoming along the way. Remain faithful in the small things. Embrace the process and trust that God's timing is always perfect. Engage with us. What part of your own elevation journey has been most challenging for you? Share your thoughts, insights, or personal experiences in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the C.S. Lewis channel for more reflections on spiritual growth and divine elevation.
Please avoid those who mock you, who utter words that steal